Hi everybody, hope you can all hear me. Hope you've all enjoyed the Daytona experience with Kevin. Daytona is a great place. Another great place on the eastern coast of Florida and just south of Daytona is Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Now hopefully earlier in the week you all saw our friend Don Thomas give a great presentation about what it's like to be up in space. And I'm just going to talk you through what you can do at Kennedy over the coming few minutes, show you a small video, and hopefully answer some questions for you. So as I mentioned, Kennedy is just down the coast from Daytona. I'm sure you're all sick of the sight of the Florida map this week, but it's a great map. We're about an hour's drive to the east of Orlando, so it's very accessible. A lot of people visit Kennedy by car. A lot of people come by bus, and later on this afternoon, you're going to have a presentation from Real Florida Adventures. You can access Kennedy through those guys and a lot of other people, people such as Greyline and Florida Dolphin Tours. So there's lots of options to get to Kennedy. You really do need a full day at Kennedy though. Don't think, or please don't think, you can just do Kennedy in 3 or 4 hours. There's so much to see and do, and you really, really don't want to miss anything at Kennedy. So I'm going to show you a short video now. Please take note, and hopefully you can all see it. Oh. Hopefully you can all see that, everyone. As you can see, so many things, as I mentioned, so much to pack into one day, so much history associated with Kennedy. Some of you will remember the moon landings, others won't. We've seen the space shuttle, we've seen the Apollo rockets. All this is the history of Kennedy, and all this is available to see at the visitor complex. Currently, there's lots of rocket launches taking off at Kennedy. The next launch is on the 30th of July. That's an Atlas V rocket, which is the rocket on the left there. That's an unmanned mission, and that's heading up to the space station with vital supplies for the astronauts up there. We have a lot of Falcon 9 rockets and Delta rockets going up as well. So we have between 20 and 25 rocket launches every year at Kennedy. It's a fantastic site, a fantastic spectacle, and you can buy tickets as well. You can't generally buy tickets for the launches through the UK providers. People such as Attraction World do something different. They have to be bought directly from Kennedy themselves. But as I've mentioned, those two providers there sell huge amounts of tickets for us through the trade, and I'm sure you're all familiar with those sources. Artemis is the next big thing at Kennedy Space Center. This is where we're going to send a man to the moon, and one day we're going to go to Mars. So lots to see. Hopefully the first test flight of the Artemis rocket will be early 2022. So keep your eyes focused on that. This will be the largest rocket man has ever sent to space, bigger than the Saturn V rocket that took the 12 astronauts to the moon. So the demand to see Artemis take off aboard the SLS, the Space Launch System rocket, will be incredible in 2022 and beyond. This is a map of the visitors complex. When you look at places like Disney, Universal, fantastic places, they're big. They are big areas. Kennedy's a lot smaller than the aforementioned parks. You need to allow 15 minutes to walk across that map on the screen there, from the Heroes and Legends on the left and the Rocket Garden across to Space Shuttle Atlantis on the right hand side. You can see the bus tour area in the middle, which takes you out to the Saturn V Centre and the launch pads. And you can see a very good overview of that whole Merritt Island, Cape Canaveral area there on your right hand side. This is the entrance to Kennedy, very impressive. That is actually a vehicle, a launcher. We have two of these, which the rockets sit aboard. This is not a real one, of course. As you can see, cars are $10, so great value to experience Kennedy for the day. Some of the key inclusions at Kennedy: Heroes and Legends, the Rocket Garden, Space Shuttle Atlantis. Atlantis did 33 missions into space. The Shuttle Launch Experience, which is our key ride. We head out on the buses to the Saturn V Centre, Imax films, and of course our Dine with an Astronaut program, which is incredibly popular, but you must book in advance for Dine with an Astronaut. Here's the Rocket Garden. I absolutely love this picture of Kennedy looking out over the Merritt Island Nature Reserve, obviously taken it in the evening, but this is the sheer size of the rockets. The rocket there is a Saturn V. A lot of people think that is the big rocket, but the big rocket is actually the Saturn V rocket. So a lot of history, as we've already mentioned, at Kennedy. And just in the background, you can see one of our newer exhibits, which is Heroes and Legends, which honours America's space pioneers. Space Shuttle Atlantis is probably my favourite thing at Kennedy. It flew 33 times into space. It's the real space shuttle, guys. It really is. So you can stand up close to Atlantis. Atlantis helped launch a lot of the Hubble Space Telescope and some of the repair missions on it, and was actually the very last space shuttle to fly 10 years ago this month. So see Atlantis. The queues are often large for Atlantis, as you would expect. So always get to Kennedy nice and early. Kennedy's open from 9 till 6 p.m. So always get at the front of the queue and you won't be disappointed. The Shuttle Launch Experience is our gravity-defying launch to space. So it's a simulation of what the astronauts actually feel, designed in conjunction with a lot of the astronauts. And great to sit there and make sure you take your coins out of your pockets, because you do go vertical. This is the Heroes and Legends. This is the Astronaut Hall of Fame. This is our place where we honour the heroes of space travel, those that are still with us and those that aren't. And that's Alan Shepard, the first American into space through there. So some of the astronauts we've had here in the UK on missions over the last few years are actually honoured in the Hall of Fame. Everybody loves an IMAX. We have two IMAXs at Kennedy. Asteroid Hunters is our brand new 3D space film, and you can also see Journey to Space. Both of those are available on YouTube to see some clips as well. So Asteroid Hunters and Journey to Space on the only back-to-back IMAX screens in the world. When we take the buses at Kennedy, as we mentioned, it's a large area out to the launch pads. We head to the Saturn V Centre. This is the actual moon rocket. The rocket that took the 12 astronauts to the moon. So this rocket would have flown but the astronaut program was cut in the early 70s. So this is a real Saturn V rocket. Sitting underneath it is absolutely amazing. On the right, you see a piece of the moon, which you can touch. During lockdown, we've replaced our entire bus fleet at Kennedy, 44 brand new buses, all air conditioned, all have an educator on board them as we take you out around the complex, and you see the sheer scale and sheer size of the visitor complex. New at Kennedy is Planet Play. This is fun for all the family. So it's a interactive childscape, very similar to what you would experience over here. Very high tech, lots of screens, lots of interaction, and it's based around space and the planet. So that's a great way to let the kids burn off some steam, and it's all fully air conditioned as well. So it does very well, and we're hoping for big things from Planet Play. Dine with an Astronaut. A lot of you will be familiar with Dine with an Astronaut. Every day, 12 noon, 3-course buffet lunch. It's an absolute must. Listen to a story of a space flyer and have your picture taken at the end. I'm sure some of you out there have done Dine with an Astronaut, and believe you me, guys, it's a fantastic experience. You often just sit there in awe of the journey that a lot of the individuals have been on. A relatively new addition before lockdown was the astronaut training experience at Kennedy. This is where you can experience what it takes to be an astronaut in a full day. You can experience weightlessness, you can experience gravity, and you can understand the science behind a lot of everything that goes on with NASA and trying to get a man to Mars and ultimately the moon. So very, very educational, and something that must be pre-booked in advance. But just so you're all aware of the ATX, the astronaut training experience. In the news, you see huge amounts about the commercial programs at Kennedy and more astronauts heading into space. So over the next 3, 4, 5 years, this will dominate everything that we do. Boeing, SpaceX, Elon Musk, etc. They're all sending astronauts into space. We saw Richard Branson head up to space a couple of weeks ago, and Kennedy Space Center is the place where it all happens on the East Coast. So hopefully that's given you a really good overview of Kennedy. There's your Twitter handles and everything else that the ways to follow Kennedy. And any questions, please let me know. Hi, everybody.
Hiya. Thanks,
Hi,
Philip. Great. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to whiz through them if possible.
Sure.
Denise is asking, can we get the video to share on social media? And there was no sound playing when you played it, so it'd be great for them to see that in hindsight.
Okay, I can put the links on here, not a problem.
Great, thanks. And how much are tickets to Kennedy Space Center? And are they valid just for the one day?
Kennedy Space Centre's always bookable through, as we mentioned, Attraction World, Do Something Different, etc. But you're in and around the £50 mark per person, and adults are around the £35 mark as well. So you get a 7-day grace period. So if you can't go on day one, there is a little bit of flexibility. But yes, 7 days on basic entrance, but obviously not on Dine with an Astronaut.
And that's one day.
That's right. Yes.
Great. How much is the ATX?
ATX varies in price, but you're looking over about £150 or so.
And are there any requirements that need to be met in terms of health for the ATX?
As long as you're fit and healthy, and height-wise is an important thing for the constraints of some of the options that you can do, certainly when you go gravity defying.
Great. Sorry, I feel a bit of echo. Hopefully that'll disappear in a minute. One final question. What extra areas do you get with the Space Pass over the standard entrance?
The Space Pass, you've got the opportunity to go out to the launch pads, which is a fantastic option at Kennedy, and see 39A and 39B, where the space shuttle took off from. And you generally get to see a little bit more, and of course you get Dine with an Astronaut as well.
Wonderful. Oh, we're just out of time. Suzanne has asked one question there in the chat. How do you know when there is a launch? So if you're able to just reply in the chat function, that would be great.
Everything's on the website, Suzanne, the drop-down calendar.
Great. Thanks very much, Philip.